All right, everybody, we are in the galaxy for Guardians of how do I say this properly? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 Retrospective Review.
Yes, exciting.
I tried to say something funny with the multiverse thing, but it kind of fell flat. But that's okay. That's all right. We're just going to keep on going.
It's okay. We'll tag it on to the end of Endgame when we go see it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Okay, so this time we're going to switch things up a little bit, and Ike is going to give the history behind the film, and then we'll get right into our retrospective.
Yeah. All right, guys. So here we go. Okay. Movie is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Its release date was May 5th, 2017. Its main cast. You ready? Chris Pratt, Zoe Zendaya, Zaldana, Dave Bautista, Bradley Cooper, Vin Diesel, I forgot about him, Michael Rooker, Karen Gillan, and introducing Pom Klementieff, Sylvester Stallone, and Elizabeth Debicki, and Kurt Russell. Ooh-wee. So, guys, here's a little background on this movie, okay? The development of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 began shortly after the unexpected success of the first Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014, which transformed a relatively unknown comic team into one of Marvel's most popular franchises. By the time filming began in 2016, the MCU was deep into Phase 3, following Captain America's Civil War and preparing for the massive expansion towards Avengers Infinity War. Marvel had proven that audiences would embrace lesser-known characters, giving writer-director James Gunn much more creative freedom for the sequel. Gunn returned as writer and director and focused less on introducing a new team and more on exploring the emotional relationships between the Guardians, especially the father-son dynamic between Peter Quill and his newly discovered father, Ego. Gunn wanted the sequel to feel like a family drama in space, exploring themes of identity, abandonment, and what truly makes someone a family. At the time, the cast had become much bigger stars because of the success of the first film. Chris Pratt had fully transitioned from comedy television star on Parks and Recreation into a major Hollywood leading man after Jurassic World. Zoe Saldana continued her status as a major sci-fi actress after Avatar and Star Wars, which she's awesome in Star Wars.
Star Trek.
Star Wars, Star Trek. What am I talking about?
Watch out, you're going to get people.
I know, and it should be me because I'm a Star Trekkie, so I'm mad at myself. I'm going to go sit in timeout. Oh, goodness, Star Trek. Whew. While Dave Bautista had become one of the biggest breakout surprises from the first movie due to Drax's humor and emotional depth, Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel returned as the voices of Rocket and Groot, with Groot now appearing as the fan favorite Baby Groot after the original Groot's sacrifice. The sequel also introduced Pom Klementieff as Mantis, a character Gunn chose because he wanted another outsider added to the group who could bring a new emotional perspective. Mantis was adapted from Marvel Comics, but Gunn significantly changed her personality and role, making her innocence and ability to sense emotions a major part of the Guardians' dynamic. One of the biggest creative decisions was making Ego the living planet, Peter Quill's father. In the comics, Ego is a bizarre comic entity with long history tied to Marvel's cosmic mythology, but Gunn was drawn to the idea of using him as a literal representation of Peter's father searching for belonging. Marvel was able to use Ego because the character had become available through Marvel's complicated film rights situation. Originally, 20th Century Fox had control over certain Marvel characters connected to cosmic properties, including elements related to Ego due to the Fantastic Four rights. After Marvel and Fox negotiated character usage for Fan Four Stick, Marvel regained access to Ego, allowing the studio to incorporate him into the MCU. Casting Kurt Russell as Ego was considered a major win for Gunn because Russell represented the classic Hollywood father figure archetype while also bringing charm and unpredictability to the role. So true, too. The film also expanded the cosmic side of the MCU by introducing the Sovereign, a genetically engineered race led by Aisha. God, I should have known that. Aisha. Gunn created the Sovereign as a way to explore a society obsessed with perfection and superiority while also providing a comedic contrast to the Guardians' chaotic personalities. The Sovereign's introduction also helped set up future conflicts, including the eventual involvement of Adam Warlock, who was teased in the post-credit scene. Production took place in 2016, primarily in Pinewood, Atlanta studios, with extensive practical sets, makeup effects, and visual effects work. Fun behind-the-scenes facts include Gunn creating a playlist of songs before writing the script, as he did with the first film, and structuring scenes around the emotional meaning of each song. The movie also featured one of Marvel's most ambitious opening sequences, with Baby Groot dancing through a massive battle while the camera focused almost entirely on his perspective. Gunn also pushed for more emotional development for Rocket, using him as the character who struggled most with accepting love from the team. When Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 was released in 2017, it received strong reviews for its humor, visuals, soundtrack, and emotional storytelling. The film earned approximately 85% Rotten Tomatoes from critics and around 87% from audiences. Financially, it was a major success, grossing roughly $869 million worldwide, against a production budget estimated around $200 million. While some critics felt the story was less tightly structured than the first film, audiences responded strongly to the emotional arcs of Yondu, Rocket, and Peter Quill. The film further established the Guardians as one of Marvel's most important teams, expanded the cosmic mythology of the MCU, and became an essential bridge towards Avengers Infinity War by continuing to develop the larger universe beyond Earth. So, Sammy, why don't you give us a quick official synopsis?
All right, guys, the official synopsis for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. The Guardians struggled to keep together as a team while dealing with their personal family issues, notably Star-Lord's encounter with his father, the ambitious celestial being Ego.
Yeah, and from what I remember from this movie when it had come out, I remember it did go well. I didn't hear like bad things about it, but it seems today it's changed, right?
I think you're right. I think that when this movie, if I remember right, and I don't remember too funny, I remember more seeing the first one than I do the second, but that's just because selective memory, maybe. I don't know. My memory bank's full, guys, so I need help. But
All do.
right, yeah, I need an external hard drive
Yeah.
just to plug in. But I don't remember this film being like negatively viewed at all until, for some reason, when people do their own retrospectives of the past, like Infinity Saga, and they don't think so highly of this film for some reason.
Yeah, I hear it's not talked well online at all.
And yeah, I know you're probably going to dive into your feelings about it too, but this is a good film.
Yeah, they're saying it's like the perfect example of mid, and I don't see that.
Mm.
You know, I
No.
don't feel like it's mid, actually. No, I want to come right off the bat, off the start, and say this is going to be a tough one, a different retrospective than we usually do. Not too different, but if you're used to listening to us, we go by each section. We're going to do all that same, folks. But I do want to, off the top, though, going to give you kind of a spoiler alert about how I feel. I'm not going to give you the score. I'm not going to tell you all my favorites yet. We'll save those for the fun moment when we get towards the end. But this movie is not mid. This movie is upper echelons of MCU, I think. This deserves to be in that category of this is MCU at its best, at its golden era. I don't know what the issue is with people today that do their retrospective and they feel like, yeah, I guess it's not as good or it's mid or they're changing their mind on it. This movie is extremely emotional. It touches on this concept of parenthood that I think is unique, and it talks throughout the whole thing about if you want to talk about character arcs and like how you see a character going from one to the other. James Gunn saw what they did with Captain America, Winter Soldier, Civil War, and he just was like, you know what, I can do that good with an ensemble. And this is him proving that. You know, I'm not, it's definitely not going to be a 10 out of 10
It's very well
like
said.
Civil War, okay? But it is, each character in this has an arc that makes sense and makes them better for what they were. There might be a couple small side characters that don't, but your side character's no big deal, right? You take your main core group of guys, there's an arc there, and it's all the same theme. And man, what a masterclass at the emotion in this film is what a lot of the other ones I feel, or the other one, when I say other ones, I mean other MCU movies, should be striving to grasp. You can have the funny and the emotion mixed just well.
Mhm.
And I think this one might do it best.
Mhm.
This might be one of the funniest Marvel movies, and it might be one of the more emotional ones too at the same time. And I'm surprised to feel that as much as I've seen it and how many times I've seen it. That and its rewatchability is just off the charts for some reason. Like,
Mm.
it's an easy movie just to fall into and relax to and watch again and again. So that we'll get there. So I just wanted to put that off the bat because I'm going to kind of piece that together as a puzzle as we go through here and there about these people. And I'm going to kind of give that away, and it's going to be very hard to pick, the best scene, the most emotional scene. It's going to be tough because it's not emotional, like intensely, I mean, but it gets there. It gets the point across, and it gets real close. It surprised me, and it went distances that I didn't think it would before. You feel similar?
Mm. You know, going into this retrospective, when I started watching it, I did just like you. I remembered, and currently, you go on YouTube right now and type in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 reviews, and people would give those same comments. It's mid,
Yeah.
it's not their best, it could have done better, parts were slow, or whatever they wanted to say. I don't know all of them, but that's actually when we get to our actual final score reviews. I want to pull up on the internet's live for you guys just to read some of the comments that people say and see if we feel the same or not, because I when I watched it for the first time, part of this retrospective, I was kind of blown away with how much I forgot about it, because maybe it got lost in the shuffle of all the other MCU movies, and when, the general audience thinks of the good versus the bad and all that stuff, we put Civil War and Winter Soldier and all them on some big pedestals, and to be honest, they are well deserved
Mhm.
of all the good reviews. But the rewatchability, you are exactly right. I've rewatched this 3 to 4 times because I try to pace myself compared to my 5 times of Doctor Strange, y'all. But every time the rewatchability is there, more than Doctor Strange 1. The
Mm.
rewatchability is there. And
Mhm.
while I was more blown away, just similar to what you said, is how each character got their due.
Mhm.
And that's why when we get to our parts of reviewing like scenes or favorite scene or worst scene and all that stuff, that is hard for me to actually describe one particular scene, because
Mhm.
these characters overall go through this transformation, and it's a much needed. This is the definition of what a sequel should be. The character development. You're already introduced to your people. Now you just gotta tell a good story and drive their character forward.
Yeah.
And with an ensemble like this, you easily could have dropped the ball with 1 or 2 of them and just focused on 2 or 3 of them type thing.
Mhm.
James Gunn didn't.
Yeah, not at all.
He deserves a lot of that credit for being able to balance everybody and put it in this great story that I don't know how anyone else could have been able to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I hold this film to much higher regard because of it, and you're gonna see my score reflects that.
Mhm. Mhm. Same
So
here.
yeah, and I do agree with you too on another point you made about um actually I think it was part of your history, but I think you agreed to this too. The topic of parenthood that
Mm.
is evident throughout this movie that you do not see in any other movie. I do not remember, maybe up until Fantastic Four, when they touched upon family this much. I might be wrong. Maybe there's a couple of spots. Maybe Thunderbolts had a little bit of, make your own family type thing. I'm trying to remember if
Not as
there's,
deep. I don't feel like they were as deep as this movie
yeah,
tried to go.
no, this
Like, I
this
mean, his
movie,
name is Ego. Like,
yeah,
I mean, really, it's you're his name is literally like the ego of that absentee father thing. It's like your ego gets in the way of
mm,
who you are, even as a parent.
that,
It's like just right down to the brilliance of using that character as being his father,
mm-hmm,
especially an absentee father,
uh-huh,
especially when you realize what his true intentions are.
yep,
And it's like, oh, that's all ego, that's all narcissistic, which is people that have had fathers that are absentee or leave or don't come back or don't raise their kids but expect something from them in the end. That's a very egotistical thing to do. I mean, he's literally his name's ego. Like it's
yes,
very interesting when you look at it, that That's kind of how meta he gets about it, you know? It's quite amazing, truthfully. So
Yeah, definitely. That point you just made, I had to make myself a quick note to
make
rem-
sure to touch on that later.
make
Yeah.
sure to touch on that when we're on our character deep dives.
Because, like, while we're going through this, guys, keep this in mind. I want you to do this too. This is probably the first MCU movie where the bad guy's really not evil. He's not evil. What he's doing is awful, right?
Mhm,
But he's a god. You know, he is at a different level. And you could argue if you were a god, then what is mortal is definitely very insignificant compared to what you have to worry about.
mhm,
So he's an egotistical, narcissistic god, where this is the first time in MCU the evilness is actually more personal than it is. Now, his actions have a universal consequence that would end worlds,
mhm.
but it's not necessarily, he's not doing it to end the world, right?
No, exactly.
It's a very personal, he's a lonely god that, you know, the only way that he can find perfection is if he makes something that is just as powerful as he is, so he can go on and they can both rule the world and create all day and all day long whatever they want. And that's basically what his
Mhm.
goal was to do.
And if
It just so
yeah,
happens that, you know, you can't do that with mortal people, with things that have feelings.
and you
You
can
know, like
argue to the point of for this of defending him as not an evil guy type thing, as this is the natural food chain of these people
for him, yeah, we're
because
nothing, we're light
they're
to the
celestials at the
celestials.
very top, and then you got everything
Right.
down there. So if you think of the natural way of order of things in nature, of predator versus prey, he's not doing things in a malicious, evil way. He's doing what he knows because that's what they do. And we find out in the Eternals movie, this is literally what they do.
Literally, yeah.
So it's not
It's
this.
kinda built into him to be this way.
Yes, that's what these Celestials are thought of in not only the comics, but definitely now in the MCU, thanks to Eternals expanding upon them as the gods of the gods,
Yeah,
basically. They are the head honchos. They help make this whole
right.
universe. So if they want to take it away or adjust it or expand their
To them, it's
powers,
okay, we'll just create more.
it's their playground,
Yeah,
literally. We're
yeah.
living in it. So this is just, if anything, them saying, no, we can't do this or we're not going to do this. That doesn't mean one was bad versus the other. Yeah, lots of lives would have been killed, but at the same time,
That only matters to us
yes.
because we would be the lives that would be killed,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's not so much, you know, that to them, it's just like, "We'll just recreate you."
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very interesting when you really think about it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
They're
kinda no different than the absentee father asking you, "Why are you so mad?" Like,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
"What is it?" "I've already admitted, I'm sorry. I'm here now." That's not enough for some people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes people need to heal. Sometimes just the acknowledgement isn't good enough. And obviously that's what they depicted
Mm-hmm.
in this movie. So
Yeah.
let's get into Act One.
There
Why don't
there are
you
layers to this. So we're gonna
very much.
peel them
Yeah.
back.
We might not articulate it the best way or peel it back as to your satisfaction, but we did a lot right there. So as we talk about things, keep all that in mind because that's kind of when I watched this movie, that's what I saw, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and when you think about the music that's playing during certain scenes, like, oh, that works like that way, you know, it's especially when you get to like when Fleetwood Mac, The Chain, and they're talking about how if you don't love me now, you never love me again. It's like just the fact that that band itself were singing that song to each other because of their relationships that they had personally. So they were singing those songs to each other because of their egos that had gotten away of what they were doing to each other as a band. And it's like it's almost like that's exactly what they're doing to each other in the Guardians. Is and when he tells them like, "What are you trying to get everybody to hate you
Mm-hmm.
because it's working?" And then that song comes in, it's like, oh, it's like that's exact. If you'd ask Fleetwood Mac, they'd be like, "That's how we felt."
Mm.
Because that's what they did. They sang that's how they did their therapy with each because they dated each other and screwed each other over, and their therapy was writing songs to each other that the band would have to sing.
Mm-hmm.
And how awesome does it work for this? It's just perfect. So,
Yeah. All right. Well, let me read Act One.
yeah, let's dive in.
And we'll dive into this guy. All right, so Act One, guys, family problems in space, basically. The
Right.
Guardians, Peter Quill, Gamora, Rocket Raccoon, Drax the Destroyer, and Baby Groot, are hired by the sovereign race to protect powerful batteries in exchange for retrieving a prisoner, Nebula. After Rocket steals some of them, the team is attacked and they crash on a nearby planet. There, Peter Quill meets his long lost father, Ego, who invites Peter, Gamora, and Drax to his world. Meanwhile, Nebula, Rocket, and Baby Groot are left behind with captured Ravengers, who were hired by the Sovereign to capture the Guardians, where tensions rise between Rocket and Yondu. So, what worked for you in this, Ike?
This whole thing is great. So, like, I love it. Like, once again, we start this movie in the past. You get to see young Kurt Russell, which he de-ages well.
Mm.
And then we get to see Peter's mom and their little relationship. And then we get the introduction to this little flower that he puts in the ground. And that's obviously a big deal later, right? Why it's there. And I like the music. The song choice is perfect because he explains to Peter later about how he even likes that song for that reason, even though he's full of crap. We all understand that he's still using that stuff to get at Peter's soft side because he knows that's what he is because he's mortal. And then go right into this whole. I think what a genius move to do with the Sovereign with this creature coming, and then just stick right with Groot, and they're just all fighting while he's dancing around doing his thing. And this is your first example of not only are they all dealing with their problems with parenthood. I mean, Drax would be the exception in this, but he's on the other side of the coin, right? So you got Peter, doesn't know his father, and he's now, as of the last movie, has learned his father's kind of, hey, your dad might be something weird. We don't even know what he is. And we got Gamora, who's got probably the worst father ever to have, right? Raccoon, you got Rocket, who was made and abandoned, And then you got Drax, who is the other side of it. He's a parent that's lost his family, that's dealing with that this whole time. And they're all kind of being a parent to Groot. And it shows in this. Well, he's fun. They're like, Groot, get out of the way there. Look out. Throughout the whole movie, there's moments. Like when they're running away from the Sovereign, and Peter, he looks back and he sees Groot sitting there. He picks him up and like throws him back, and she catches him. And it's like they have a system where they know they're all looking out for the little guy, And he's just like, I don't know. Like he's just a little baby, right?
It's so cute.
It's amazing. I love it, And yeah, it all works for me a lot. I love the fighting in this. And I got to tell you, if is that okay? If you had any kind of trepidation about Gamora being a badass the last time, then I hope that this movie has tamed that issue, because when she jumps up and she pulls out her sword, she jumps up and she cuts that thing in half. You're like, oh yeah, that's what the daughter of Thanos does.
Yes.
Right? Like that's the stuff that we need.
Exactly. That's what I need to see. I would say
he heard you back in the day, and he made it happen.
just to point that out, I know you're still talking. I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. It's fine. Go right back. Yeah.
Gamora, if anyone watched their first Guardians review, she's the one I gave as the weakest performance and the weakest character. That is not true in this movie. And I have grown a huge fondness to her because of this movie and how well they wrote her. And when we get to those specific scenes, I'll definitely tell you why. And oh my gosh, she is so good in this movie. It was perfectly cast and perfectly well written for her. She definitely earns those titles that they gave her, and just being like this mother figure to the group. Oh, it's so good. I love it when she picks up when they're tossing baby Groot around, and she grabs him. She puts him on the shoulder and she says, "You hold on now." And I'm like, what a mom thing to do. You're right. They just look out for him because he's just this little baby Groot.
Yeah, he doesn't know what's going on.
It's so cute. It's perfect. So yeah, keep going on what you.
And then you want to talk about egos and like this idea of the perfection of life. Like this Sovereign is wild to me. I like him so much. And what I like, you notice in this movie, not one Sovereign person dies.
No.
Not one loses a life.
No,
which
true.
I think is really cool, I really fell in love with the idea that their battles and their ships that they have, it's all like a giant arcade room.
Yep.
And it sounds like it too, right? Like they're like, when they lose. And it's like, that's awesome. Like
they're more concerned about their pride than they are about anything else. Because even when you get to the post-credits scene and Aisha's hair is all crazy, it looked like she'd just been through hell, honestly. But no one died.
Yeah, there was really no physical harm to them. They're going to build more ships. Yeah.
Their egos are pricked.
Exactly. Yes. Yep. 100%.
Anyways. So, this so cool. Anything else that sticks out to you in the first?
Yeah, I mean, I do have a couple things. I'm trying to think. I don't want to go too far ahead because I know because Yondu gets involved here. And I do I do think that I like that Yondu is part of this as well, more so than in the first. And you can tell that there's something coming with that, right? Like now that we've seen it retrospectively, we understand what Yondu was doing with Peter, and we get it. So it's when you watch it this time, the weight isn't there as much. But like I do see where they come from with it. This whole scene of even the Ravengers telling him what you were doing was wrong, and it's like he was doing something wrong. He's admitted it, He's a good example of that father that's a deadbeat dad that did a lot of wrong things and he shouldn't have, and he needs to come to peace with that. Him and Rocket share this in common. They struggle admitting things that they should admit that are true, especially when they're peaceful. And Yondu eventually calls it out on Rocket later. And they have this whole, because you're me and I'm, and it's just like, and all of a sudden Rocket's just like, yeah, we are a couple, we'll destroy things before we accept things. Yondu's pride is there so high that he'd rather Peter think it's because you were skinny, and even right to like, even when he's sitting in the cage with Rocket, and he's like, because you was skinny. And it's like, yeah, but it's not the truth, right? And it's very interesting how that plays out. And when you get to the end, it's obviously heartbreaking, but it works out so well, in my opinion. So
yeah, I agree.
I love the introduction of Ego as well. I like that Rocket has a tiny man on a tiny ship. Man. Yeah, and it's like because he's from far away. Like, what is is Rocket doesn't understand, like, for some reason, like, as smart as he is, as much as well of a pilot as he is, he doesn't get that concept. It's amazing these people are alive sometimes. Right? It's funny, but sometimes you're like, how do they survive? Like, it's like some of it, there's a lot of luck there, more than you think, actually, like, I love it. Yeah. How about you? Is there more you want to say for that works real well for you?
Oh, yes. All right. So what worked for me, guys, is everything. Literally everything in this act. There's I agree with you. Not to rehash everything you said, but I fully agree with you when it came to the 80s flashback. Kurt Russell looks great with 80s hairstyle, let me tell you.
Looks great now,
and yes, yes, and that CGI, the de-aging thing, I mean, it was impressive with Hank Pym and Ant-Man, but it just continues to get better. Like they are perfectionists. You could be young forever with the MCU, honestly. It's so good. But anyways, I love that, and I love that it's not a throwaway scene. It's not like, oh, we just wanted to show you what it'll look like. It actually had a purpose with that flower that they expand upon in the third act. I appreciate that, because then I mean, it's not like that would have been a bad scene either way. It's just that I love when scenes have a lot more to them and there's a lot more of a purpose, which I can imagine when they got to like the cutting room floor of what they had to trim down from what they filmed. That was pretty hard for James Gunn, because it seems like he puts a lot of time and work and dedication and a lot of thought into every scene and every line and everything that they do. That every film has to trim down somewhat, little things that didn't work. I'm sure this was a hard one for him to be looking at a big screen and be like, oh, I really liked that, like, but it's okay, because this movie turned out to be perfect for how they cut it. Anyways, yeah, I love the first act. I like the monster and the protecting the batteries.
Monster's intense.
Monster is intense, and give it to those visual effects artists that's able to make that platform look like it's ripped out of the comics, and them just having a brawl on there. And Drax, oh my gosh, when they're saying that the skin is too thick, and he's like, oh, it'll be better on the inside, and then Gamora and Star-Lord are like, what do you mean? This is going to be the same on the inside as on the outside? And he just still jumps right in and starts doing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're funny. Like, dude, you could have died like that, but whatever.
And he does these moments with these characters that makes these slow-mo shots. They're like posters almost.
Oh,
and Drax is in the air coming into the, you're like, oh, it's actually cool, but he's ridiculous. Yeah. But it's really cool, and I love that Drax laughs at anything crazy.
Oh, he's laughing when he's cutting him up.
Yeah,
you're like, oh my gosh, you're a maniac.
What a wild character he can be. Like,
I love that. I love that they made him like that. It's humorous for us, but also speaks to his character and how, what they say in the first one, how literal he is and how things don't go over his head and all that stuff. Yeah. Or things do go over his head. That's right. Things go
Yeah.
over, and then he says, "Nothing goes over my head. I have 2 quick reflexes." It's just
Like a
it's
cat.
just it's funny. Yeah. Anyways, that first scene was great. I loved the meeting Aisha and all the gold people, all the sovereign.
Mhm.
The jokes of I should learn from the arcane rays of the past, and Star-Lord's playing up like, yeah, I'll show you sometime. It's just and right there, Gamora looks at him and be like, oh my gosh, you guys, this is so funny. And one of my favorite lines is when they bring Nebula out and you see Peter go, family reunion.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no.
Yeah.
So all that is funny. And then when Rocket reveals he stole the batteries and
Yeah.
Drax starts laughing his head off in front of them, be like, oh my, and then you can't insult the sovereign. And he's like, you guys aren't as bad. I don't know the specific word, but he said it in the way where they could have been insulted. Be like, oh my gosh, oh no, walk away.
Oh, and then he tried winking like it was a joke.
Yeah,
They got that he was winking.
Yeah.
So that's what I get for winking with my left eye. Like he's figuring these things out. It's so wild.
It's funny. It's so.
And I like that him stealing the batteries is a consequence through the whole movie.
Oh my, yes.
It's like everything that happens in this movie is a follow through all the way to the end, and I think that's real smart.
Well, I think that's part of his Rocket's character arc throughout this whole thing is either he doesn't realize how he comes across or he comes across in a childish way, that he's not thinking of the future of what his consequences are from what he says and does. And that's what becomes very evident towards the end of the film when he realizes, hey, people still love me even though I'm going to be a mess up sometimes, It's so well written for all these characters, and Rocket, yes. Anyways, flying away from the Sovereign. I love, like you said, it's like a big arcade. It literally sounds like an arcade when they're all doing it. And then it pans out and they all have their own like consoles. Be like, oh my gosh, that is so funny. And I gotta say, I love the quantum field.
Yes.
It's the first time I remember really hearing it's called a quantum field or quantum something. It was a quantum asteroid field. And I'm like, quantum realm? Like, is there a connection and we just don't know about it? Or is there, it's like, is that where PIM particles come from? Who knows? Honestly, I don't know. But, and you see them go in and out, and then you think of what the quantum realm's like. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder if they thought of this and we just never have thought of this until now.
Right.
But anyways, it's so good. I love the banter between Rocket and Star-Lord going through the quantum field, and they're saying why they're better than each other, and then they do that gear shift, and I love that feature of the Milan, the ship too, that you could transfer control one or another. It's so cool, but it really speaks to how these two they're almost like alpha level character types, and how they learn to get along with each other and just being either nice to each other or cordial with each other or just get each other's vibe. I love that throughout the whole thing. And we'd see it pay off in Guardians 3, if I remember right. But
you see their egos get in the way.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It's such a good tie-in.
Yeah, so that was cool. And then meeting Ego, how they did, where he just blasted all the ships and then he disappears because they crash, and then they find him again, and the whole campfire scene, and then they go off into his weird ship that almost looks like an eyeball. It's so interesting.
It's a strange design, but it's real cool.
It is real cool. Meeting Mantis and be like, who is this character? When you first meet her, you think she's kind of like that servant character, which to a degree she is from the Collector, but there's a lot more in depth with her, and I love the addition
I like
of
her role with him, the being able to put a Celestial to sleep, it's like because he wants to rest, and for him it feels nice. He's nice to her to a degree, you know what I mean, clearly, and even though she knows his secrets, and I like her abilities and how they play with it in the scene where where they do me, he just falls asleep real quick. Like,
you feel love, sexual love for her. And you're like, oh,
they told you the biggest, darkest secrets. It's like, peace, man.
Like all kids. It's so funny.
I watched this movie with my daughter, and Morgan was just like, I couldn't hang out with a friend like that. That would be hard. It'd be difficult.
It would be very difficult. Yeah. Anyway, so I think that gets to the end of that part. Oh, the Ravengers thing. I love the introduction of Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, what a great part.
He's a good actor, man. It's just like Kurt Russell. You're adding legacy to a movie like this, and it fits the part and the character for him so well.
It does. He fits well in that
Yep.
world.
Yep. And
Yep.
this movie, I know in our retrospective for the first Guardians movie, I wasn't too much of a fan of Yondu only because I didn't see too much of him and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, is this guy really legit? Or what's the big deal? But this one, oh, it's amped up. And I actually really like him in this movie. Really good. So, and really well. So that's what worked for me.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything that didn't?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
There's only one thing that I would say that didn't work for me. And it does have to do with Gamora. But brace yourself. This is what it is. So, is it just me, or did they ever explain how strong physically she is? It's evident throughout this film that she has some sort of super strength inside her type thing. And I don't know if that's a part of her race thing that I just don't remember seeing in any other film. But when she's holding on to Drax and they're crashing and he's hitting every tree, realistically, she should have dislocated her arm at the very least, if not split her in half almost. And I can't think of any character other than maybe a Drax, someone that's super strong that's supposed to be able to handle that can do that.
Yeah, they're not very consistent, or I would say honest or open about just what her ability is strength-wise. I wouldn't say, though, she's done anything that makes you go, whoa, that's way too much. But I definitely don't think she's done. You don't want to do too little either. So I think that's kind of. I think it showed a struggle there. You know, the later when she picks up the gun, you know, it was still like a heavy gun. You know, you hear like, you know what I mean, holding it. So I think she's strong. You know, but I think they're just kind of going with the flow on what they decide.
Yeah,
how strong she's going to be. You know, and where it fits.
Because
I can see that being something that doesn't quite work because it's not very clear.
That's the only part that I would say is like if they wanted to keep her for the scene of her doing it, fine, but maybe add something else where she's strapped into the ship or something that's holding her back like this, so it gives the appearance that she's still doing it, but it's not hurting her because she doesn't have a limp. She's got no problems with it afterwards. At the very least, I would have expected her to do this a couple times. That would have made it, to me, a little more realistic of you just been through hell trying to save Drax. That's the only thing that I can complain about because the rest of this is picture perfect of what I would have expected.
I understand.
Yeah. So, anyways, anything that didn't work for you, or is
no? That would be something I would agree with. So,
but you know what's funny? My standout moment is Gamora saving Drax.
Yeah.
Even though physically, logistically, realistically, I don't think it worked too well. That is a huge character moment right there. And so I feel like there's a couple things I could have put for my standout moment, like meeting Aisha. I thought that was a pretty cool. But and just the quantum realm thing, I really do like that quantum realm.
Me too.
Or not realm, but field.
The field, field.
But I gotta say that her being able to do that, whether she had super strength or not, that's pretty cool. So
yeah, my standout moment's definitely this whole battle with the Sovereign because I just was so tickled that they're just not in the ships. You know, it's just like this is so funny. It's just fun to watch. Like there's stakes still happening here, but like the stakes are still high. They could be killing them, but like they're just not there. It's just wild to think. You know,
know how great their Wi-Fi is.
It's
their
Bluetooth. So good.
They could go eons away with this thing and not lose a beat with signal.
Yep.
Come on, Verizon.
Yep.
Anyways. So, what would you give a score for the first act?
I give the first act a 9 out of 10.
Me too.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Definitely. All right, why don't you read Act 2?
All right, Act 2. Peter begins bonding with Ego, learning he has godlike celestial powers. However, Gamora grows suspicious and discovers Ego has been planting seeds across planets to expand himself, killing them in the process. Ego reveals his true plan to use Peter's power to activate the expansion and take over the universe. Meanwhile, Rocket, Groot, and Yondu escape captivity and begin heading toward Ego's planet. Yondu reveals he's spared Peter as a child instead of delivering him to Ego, showing he cared for him like the son. like a son, the group begins converging for a rescue.
Mm.
So I don't think Yandu, I think we got that wrong. Yandu doesn't, he just,
Oh, it's not. I'm sorry. It's not in this act. That's in act
yeah,
3.
Yandu doesn't explain that till later. But yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll
And
skip
it's,
that
yeah.
part.
Sorry about that, folks. Um. All right. So, what worked for you?
So this whole thing, again, it's hard to pick. It'd be easier to tell you what doesn't work. But let me just go through some fun stuff that I really do like, obviously. I like Taserface. I think that whole situation is funny. It doesn't get old. I think Rocket, how he handles it, I think is very funny. Um, there's a lot that goes down in this middle section, man. Like, so something that sticks out to me, I'm not gonna talk about everything, or we'd be here for hours.
Mm.
So I'm just gonna say I like Taserface. I'm gonna pick 3 major things in this section that really sticks out to me, and then I wanna talk about the emotional beats. I'm gonna let you go on with yours because, like I said, we could talk minute by minute at this point.
Mm.
Okay, I'm gonna mention 4 things, I guess.
Okay.
Part of it is I love this whole with Rocket, and he's, like, out in the woods with all his traps and
Mm.
stuff. I love all that stuff with Rocket. That is so good.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing I love a lot is I do love their escape. I What doesn't work for me, I'm gonna say it right now, is the stuff when Groot's going back and forth getting the wrong things. That got a little old on me. I thought that was real funny at first, and I thought the first time I saw it was funny. I'm not saying it's bad. It doesn't hurt the movie, but it definitely, as I realized, oh, this is a little bit of a weaker joke that went a little longer than it should have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, should have been a couple beats less, and then it would
Yes.
have been do 2 really good funny ones, and then maybe a third one to really throw you, and then the rest would be good. But like, it just seemed to kind of like constant over and over. To me, it was like, okay, now it's kind of losing its luster, so that's what doesn't work for me. That's it. So after that, I love when we finally get to see what this arrow is capable of,
Mm-hmm.
and the music turns on, and they just walk through this place, and they are just ripping people apart with this arrow.
Mm.
I cannot get over how awesome that is and how cool it looks. Yandu didn't look, he looked so badass doing all that stuff. I loved all of it. And I also noticed that when they get to Ego's planet, first of all, that planet's awesome.
Mm.
Like, it's basically him, but like it's really cool looking, and all the stuff he created is really cool.
Mm.
And I like that when he's talking with Peter and he says, "Yeah, you can create all the kind of things that you want." And Peter, like in his immaturity, is like, "Oh, I'm going to create a bunch of weird shit." You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
he gets all excited about it. But I also like that he has like these pods set up where he tells the story of what he's done and who
Mm.
he is.
Mm-hmm.
But right then and there, it made me realize through this. I mean, I've always thought this. Maybe I'm late to the party on this. And if I am, then I'm a little slow, guys. But that to me indicated should have been their first warning sign that he's done this multiple times. You know what I mean? Like, I think some people complain, they say, "Well, it's just convenient that he has all these things, and what a stupid way to do exposition." But I think what they're actually trying to show you is he's prepared to tell this story because he's done this thousands of times.
Mm.
And when you realize all the dead bodies and all the dead siblings, and you're like, "Oh, he has done this a lot."
Mm-hmm.
So he's ready. I'm gonna tell the story this fast way to do it, and here we go. Get it
Mm-hmm.
through. It's right down to clockwork. He's got jokes and stuff ready. It's like an act for him. And it shows when Peter finally makes that celestial, that energy ball.
Mm-hmm.
He, for a split second, goes into like, "Oh my God, you can do it." Like, it's like, but it's not happy for Peter. It's like that part of him, of the bad part of him, comes out quick. He's like, "Oh, here it is." Yes. Cause he's waiting for one that has the power.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he kind of stops. Oh, wait, oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, back. Okay, yes, yeah, cool. Let's play catch, right? Yeah, let's play catch. Like, he goes into that whole in and out of that, real slips in and out easy because he's just sick and tired of doing this over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Which when you get to the third act makes sense because he just said, "Okay, fine. Geez, you'll just have to be a battery for thousands of years."
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to argue with you about it. I'm sick and tired of waiting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like at for a long time, you want to trust this guy, and he's going to be the bad guy eventually, right? We all understand that. That's not the secret. That is, it's not a well kept secret. It's not. I don't even think they're trying to keep that secret.
Mm-hmm.
It's clearly Mantis is struggling to tell him something. We all know, what's the big dark secret, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you first see this movie, but if you really look at the depths of it, though, that all these nice, calm moments where you're like, oh, he's just telling them a story. And see, he could be a decent guy. Maybe this movie's going to trick us. Oh, no, this is just as bad. This is bad. Like, he's showing them things. Like, he is like, I've done this so many times. You know, it's in their face how scary it is. It's like being in a serial killer's house, sitting next to a lamp that's made out of skin and not realizing it's skin, right? It's like that's kind of, I know it's way crazy, guys, but it's true. If you think about it, that's kind of what this guy's doing, you know, and it's quite amazing, actually. I
Mhm.
actually like that it's that smart. You know,
Yeah.
it is that smart to me. And of course, this is also where I love when Gamora and Nebula have their fight.
Mm,
Because Nebula
mm.
just goes all out, man. I love that she's just jamming this. She's gonna fly this ship right into her. Like
Yeah.
there is no hold, no brakes held on their fight, right? I love that that's going on like that. And then I like, you know, then here we are to what they are. You know, Gamora spends her life just in survival mode. How do I stay alive? That she hasn't
Mhm.
stopped to think about how much that hurts
Mhm.
Nebula. And
Mhm.
when she says, all I wanted was a sister.
Mhm.
And you're like, whoa, that's deep stuff. Like he goes the distance with this,
Mm.
and that's the threshold that them two as characters needed to cross.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, what works for you, Sam?
Oh gosh. The emotions of each character are so well thought through, especially in this act, and so deep.
Yeah,
It's so good and refreshing to see that for a sequel movie, to be honest, you know? This is what sequel movies are supposed to be, is you learn more about the character, you challenge each one of their characters, and you see who they truly are through these personal turmoils, and that's what each character goes through in here. It's really so good. Anyways, I agree with you with everything that you said on what worked and even what didn't work, like the Baby Groot scenes. I like the Baby Groot scenes, don't get me wrong, but I think I think if they did 2 of them and then the 3rd one was correcting of the fin thing, the head piece, that would have been enough because
yeah,
we got the point across at that point. The Baby Groot does not know what they're talking about,
right.
you
Yeah,
know, and he's just grabbing random stuff, even the thumb. I would have kept the thumb because that would have been cool.
the eyeball
But
one's funny too. So
yeah,
they all have a good funniness to them. It
it's
just kind of felt like it just kept going.
the desk to me was the part that I would say didn't work because
Yeah,
he's literally dragging across the floor when everyone's sleeping. Like, no, that wouldn't have logically worked. Everything else would have logically
yeah,
worked.
I
But
agree.
anyways, so maybe not cutting off the thumb because I'm pretty sure that would hurt.
Yeah,
But and someone would scream. But at the same time, it was a funny moment. So whatever. I love it when they're like, "We're not going to speak of this ever." Just
hmm
no, no. Anyways, yeah. Peter begins bonding with Ego. I loved that scene, like the exposition scene that you described, and you put it so really well about how he's done this before. I like that it feels like you're walking through a museum
yeah, it
because he's
does.
like showing you this exhibit of his creation, then this
hmm
exhibit of when he is made into a plant, this his exhibit of making the human body and all this different stuff. And the jokes throughout there are they land so well and they're
Yeah,
natural feeling. It
especially
didn't
Drax.
Yes, it didn't feel forced. It felt like he was just a genuine question. Did you make a penis? And how Star-Lord's response was so it was so appropriate and just like that, it didn't feel forced or acted. Just like, dude, what?
Yeah, yeah.
It's perfect.
I
Perfect.
think I told you this earlier, but I think what makes Drax funnier in this one is actually their responses to him,
Yeah.
or it's like it almost
Yeah.
adds on, like it makes the joke hit harder
Yeah.
and better. It's like
Mhm.
because they're like us, like what? Like and they're like what? And I think that's cool that they don't just let it pass. If they just let these jokes pass by, like it's just normal to them,
Yeah.
they'd still think land funny. But man, they're funnier when it's like
Mhm.
when it's like this, right? When it's like them going,
Mhm.
"What?" Like, "Wait a minute, guy." Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. You're right. You're right. Yeah. Um, so I know I jumped around from a couple of different spots, but like the Um, just to go back to like that Baby Groot scene, I said that wasn't like my favorite of the whole thing. I do agree with you. Their exit with the him Yandu looking at all the screens and controlling the arrow throughout the whole ship right there was really cool.
Yeah.
That was really cool, and I love that each one of them got to hit the one Ravager that really did them wrong throughout the
Mhm.
whole thing. And Taserface, he is so
It's brilliant. It's one of the
Is
smartest
you know,
jokes.
it's well done. It's a
Yeah.
great joke, and the thing is, he doesn't last too long,
Right.
and that's perfect. If he had lasted into the next act, I would have been a little
Yep.
bit like, okay, it's not funny anymore. It's not good anymore. But I love that his last line is when they ask who came for them or whatever, tell them Taserface. And Aisha just starts laughing, be like,
Yeah.
"Yes, that's perfect. She doesn't even take you seriously.
Yeah.
That's so stupid."
He's like, "Oh."
And then he blows up.
Yeah, I think
But
it's
yeah,
genius.
I think that's so cool. I think this is a really good act. If it wasn't for that one Groot thing, this is a slam dunk act.
Yeah.
I love Eagle's Planet. That is one place I would have loved to explore a little bit, and it makes me so curious that it's a living planet because it is him. Like, when they're doing all that stuff with the fight with Nebula and Gamora, I wonder if he felt any of that.
Yeah, I
Because
questioned that myself as I was going.
yeah, because that place is only him and Mantis, so he knows every footstep that happens on that planet.
Mhm.
And that was one of the cool things about the comics version of Ego, and I know when we get to character deep dives, that's something I want to touch upon, but just to mention it right now while we're in this act, is that Ego the Living Planet, like, he was a Fantastic Four villain. That's why it was the Fox issue and all that stuff. But when the Fantastic Four would land their ship on him, he would, every step they made, he would be able to suck them in or do something to them or send these like termite things to them. You know, he would terrorize them because he knew literally where they were on him.
Yeah.
So that makes me wonder if on this Eagle planet, if he knew all that was
It
happening,
was
and
similar, yeah.
maybe he didn't even care. Either way, it doesn't make or break anything. It's perfect, and that leads me to my best character moment that you described is the Gamora and Nebula. They're fighting.
Yep.
Oh,
That's mine too.
my gosh.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
From beginning to the reconcile.
You know
it's
what?
phenomenal.
You know what it reminds me of? This is if I was to go to Bandai Namco over in Japan and they were discussing making a Tekken movie and they had to put Nina and Anna Williams into it, I would show them this scene and say, this is exactly what they've done in the video games. This is how you do it in live action.
Mhm.
It is brutal.
Mhm.
It is perfect. Two sisters going, like, literally guns and ships ablazing at them.
Yeah,
They could have died like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then she still pulls her out of the wreckage. Be like, that is exactly what Nina and Anna Williams do in Tekken. Like, every cutscene of Tekken has that. And I loved that that's what they did with these characters because it really is true to these characters. And it makes me like Gamora so much more and like Nebula.
Yeah.
Where you thought of her as just this villainous sister in the first one, and now you find out there's a lot more depth to her and the reason why she is what she is. Not only with what Thanos, and I think she's actually explaining that on our screen right now, what Thanos did to her piece by piece and remaking her, but also you see that perspective of her versus Gamora and how the exact words that you just said a couple minutes ago, you always wanted to win, I just wanted a sister.
Yeah.
And be like, wow. Wow. And it's so true because that was Gamora had to earn that title of fiercest woman in the galaxy or however it was specifically.
And all of it was because of
dangerous
their dad.
woman.
Their father.
Yes, and that's literally for her to survive and not have done to her what they did to Nebula, she had to win. That's how she doesn't look like Nebula. And she doesn't realize that in doing that to protect herself, it's also now hurt someone that she genuinely does care for because it really shows how bad Thanos is, guys.
Yeah, he's a bad dude.
It's just anyone who thinks that, I know you did that short clip about a month or two ago, but guys, it's so true. Anyone who thinks Thanos is mid, you guys are crazy.
Yeah,
You're
he's
just
mean.
crazy. This movie, that scene is proof of the psychological and physical trauma that those two girls had to go through. And now they're free of it and they still don't know how to break free mentally of it. And it's their bonding moment there where Nebula realizes she can have a sister. Gamora realizes I can be more than just the winner and look at her badly. It sets up what we see the rest of Nebula throughout the rest of the franchises. A great addition to the Guardians, you know?
Yeah.
So, anyways.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
That perfect character moment. Did the pacing hold up for me? Yes, it did.
Same for me. Yep.
Yes, it did. All right. So, what would you give this act?
I give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
I see that. I gave this a 9.5 out of 10.
Okay, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. I just gave it 8. Like, I like it. It's good. It's just one of the, it could have went anywhere, and I like I said, the Groot thing kind of was a little yeah, but like I mean, trying to be as critical as I can as
Mm.
well. So
No, to me, that's the only thing that made it go down.
yeah,
Otherwise, this is a great middle act.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So I will read Act 3 for you guys. On Ego's planet, Peter confronts his father while the Guardians arrive to help. Ego activates the expansion, threatening to consume everything. Peter resists Ego's control after being inspired by Yondu's power origin. The Guardians fight together to destroy Ego's core, with Yondu ultimately sacrificing himself to save Peter in a powerful emotional moment. Meanwhile, the Sovereign arrive and wreak havoc on the whole situation as well.
Hmm.
Ego is destroyed, and the Guardians escape as a true family unit. Peter officially accepts Yondu as his real father figure, and the team grows closer than ever. Okay. Did I miss anything in that?
No.
I noticed that I didn't write the Sovereign there, and I had to point that out because we're going to talk
Yeah.
about. But did this ending land for you?
It did. Yes, it did.
Mm.
Specifically, just how So let me go to my notes here. So did it land for me? Yes, it did land for me. Um, Specifically, I like that it come down to Peter making a decision between being mortal and not in in the
Mm.
long run.
Mm.
Um, and this idea of Yondu kind of taking responsibility for making Peter's life harder than it should have been, you
Mm.
know? And when I say taking responsibility, it's not that he gave his life for Peter that what needed to happen.
Mm.
It was just the telling him that this is what I did wrong and I wish I could have done better.
Mm.
It just so happens to be at a time that is very critical in where they are in life and death scenario,
Mm.
because I think this would have happened even if they were safe,
Mm.
but because they weren't safe, it was definitely had to be said right then and there.
Yeah.
I love the Sovereign showing up and it just putting a freaking havoc, like wrecks havoc in their plans,
Mm.
and them fighting. This is how they fight. It's all chaos. There's no good plan. They have a plan. It doesn't work,
Mm.
and they try to, the fact that he flies around and asks for tape for 2 minutes. I love that scene. You got
Yes.
any tape? And I like that. Is it Drax or
Yeah.
yeah,
Scott. Oh, you got Scotch tape? Wait,
it's like,
why'd
yeah,
you say
Scotch
Scotch
tape would
tape?
work. Yeah, why would you say you had it? Just in case what? Like it's like I like it. And I like that, I like that Groot just like runs away with the bomb and Rocket's
Yeah.
like, oh man, that's it. Like we're just screwed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna die.
And it makes sense that Mantis holds him off while they're fighting the Sovereign, for all this stuff to happen.
Mm.
I like all that. And
Mm.
what I specifically, the scene I like in this that sticks out for me the most, where I say the climax is earned is in 2 parts. So I say the climax is earned where he has Peter, he shows Peter this is what it looks like. And he kinda has Peter, right? Like Peter's kinda in a trance of like, wow,
Mm.
I'm learning everything I know if I kinda get what he's talking about. And then Peter kinda comes out of it and says, yeah, but what about the people I care about? What about my friends? Or his new family, basically. And that's when he's like, listen, you're not paying attention.
Mm.
You dummy, like blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And then that's kind of when he says the whole thing about his mom.
Mm.
And if he just didn't say it, boy,
Yeah.
what would have
Right.
happened, right?
Yeah.
But the fact they said I had to give her cancer because I had to stay awake.
Mm.
I just loved her so much. And now, as soon as he said it, Peter's like, he does that whole Shakespeare, the Spielbergian push in from Jaws, right? He's like,
Mm.
woof. And he doesn't like, there's no, what did you say? He kind of says it, and then he just blasts the hell out of him. Like, he's just, pop, 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 pop.
Yep.
Like, he's just going to kill him. Like, I'm just killing you right now.
Yep.
Like, he just loses his crap on him. And I'm like, that is like, I think that's awesome that
Mm.
turns out that way.
Oh.
And I like that Peter grabs the Celestial in himself and they fight at the end for that brief moment. Because they do just enough to where, like, cool, Peter's like a superhuman right now.
Yeah.
But James Gunn doesn't go too big to make it like it's weird.
Yeah.
Because after a while, it's over with. And I like that he makes a big Pac-Man. I
That's so cool.
It's so funny.
Mm.
Yeah, those things work for me a lot in this. And that's what makes the climax earn for me. and it makes the ending land for sure, all of that. And
Mm.
the ending lands even more so because of the Yondu stuff.
Yes.
When he was flying up there and he puts that thing on him, he tells him all that stuff, and then he dies. And it's like, that's Peter getting the validation of, he met his real dad that they had to kill,
Mhm.
which he literally dies in his hands, like falls. I want you all to put that in perspective for this character. I've learned that Peter Quill might be the second most tragic character in the MCU next to Thor. You imagine watching your mom die, being stolen by aliens, learning to be a thief in the galaxy,
Mhm.
and you're learning who your mother is through your music. The guy's been taking care of you, has been threatening to eat you for a long time, and you really don't know if he's good or bad. He keeps saying he might kill you, but he doesn't, but it's because you have to keep earning it, but he's only doing it to make you do it. But you don't know, right? You don't understand. It's a scary life to live with those people. Just like he says, it was all to be funny. He goes, it wasn't funny to me. You know what I mean? Like, when he says that, it's amazing because it's like, duh, dude, I thought you were really going to eat me. I was a little kid. But then, like, here you have met your father and you got him. Like, the bomb's on the brain, everything's ready to go. And he pleads to him. Ego pleads to him.
Mhm.
Don't do this. Don't you understand what you could be giving up? And Peter chooses not to. And then when he does die, he turns into dust out of his hands. Like, I mean, that is like, you got to think. Like, and then 10 minutes later, the guy who has been raising you admits to you the whole time that, by the way, I was just kidding around. I wasn't going to eat you. And I was saving you from what you just went through.
Mhm.
And I wish I could have been better and I should have been.
Mhm.
And you've been looking up this guy. Everything you learn is this guy here. And then he
Mhm.
dies in your arms.
Mhm.
Like, both his dads die in his arms within an hour.
Mhm.
I mean, he's a pretty tragic character, man. Like, I give a lot of credit to the writing in this,
Mm.
the balls it takes to do this. Like, it's real
Yeah.
good. And then, of course, him getting the Ravager funeral, and they put it out there and they say, look, clearly, they were wrong about what he was doing, and he
Mhm.
had made mistakes, but he had fixed it, and they all
Yep.
came and did it's so heartwarming.
Yes.
I didn't cry in that as much as I was just happy, believe it or
I
not.
agree. I agree. Yeah.
It was emotional, but it wasn't sad. It was, oh, this is good. This is
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
that to me, that was all 100% earned.
I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, would the climax technically be Peter discovering his dad, no matter whether it was Ego or finding out that Yondu was his dad? Because is the climax the thing that's the overarching thing throughout the movie, and if it comes to a close or not?
Yeah, I'd say the climax is the fighting at the end, though, like,
Mm.
making the choice to not be the
Mhm.
Celestial with him
Yep. So the ending landing is more of
is
the
more of the Yondu stuff, in my
yep.
opinion,
Yeah.
because that's kinda like the overall story we're talking about.
Mhm.
That fatherhood, the parenthood thing really hits it home there.
Yeah.
Because now you got all these people are reconciling with family. It's
Mhm.
Gamora and Nebula are going to be sisters, and you got Drax who's finding who
Mhm.
you're not, it's not him so much that you're learning about as a change as it is through Mantis. We're learning how much it really hurts him to not have his family
Yep.
anymore. And now she's finding somewhere where she belongs. If there's anyone sidelined, it's her, but we'll get there.
Mhm.
But not when I say sidelined, there's no real arc for her yet.
Mhm.
So it's like kind of just she's a good introduction though. So yeah, I would say in my best character I don't know if that's in this section. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Where are we at here? Yeah, the climax was definitely earned. My biggest issue in any of this,
Mhm.
and my best moment in Act 3, I like when he reveals that I killed your mom.
That's mine.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is the
that's a
best
great
moment.
moment. Yeah,
That's mine. Yep.
yeah. And my biggest issue in this,
Mm.
I mean,
It's it's hard.
I'm hard pressed to find an issue with this, guys.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I'm gonna leave it like that.
Yep.
Maybe a little pacing. There's a little bit of pacing.
Yeah,
Maybe the end
if
could
you
have
had
been,
to nitpick,
yeah,
yeah.
if you could have trimmed up the end just a tad, timing wise, I guess. A little long.
Mhm.
That's about it.
Yeah.
That's picking nits, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say that my best moment was what you already said is revealing how his mom died. It hurt me to put that tumor in her head. Immediately when it zooms out, he's like, "What?" And then as he keeps talking.
Like it's not a
You
big
should just
deal.
shut up, ego.
Yeah.
Cause he kept talking. And then the blasting and the emotion. You killed my mother. Like, oh my.
Remind me of Civil War.
Very Tony
Immediate.
Stark vibey,
Right? Yeah.
which
yeah.
is warranted when you mess with someone's mother. Like,
Mhm.
come on, guys, that's a natural response. Yeah. Oh, geez, that is my best moment, and I didn't have a big issue. I thought everything worked out exactly. It didn't feel overcrowded with the Sovereign being there. They served the purpose
Yep.
with distracting them long enough to have Ego form enough again to see Star-Lord tap into that power just a little bit, that ancestral power. And I agree with you. I like that James Gunn didn't make him into like a Superman type figure. They just made him as a guy who just is tapping into these abilities to do what he can do just to defeat his father, and then knowing that killing his father will kill the immortality that he has in him he was fine with that, because what his father was about to do was pretty universe shattering. So,
But you see how it's more personal though.
and Ego is terrifying. After they destroy the one body of his and he's trying to rebuild, and he's like, "That of course I have issues. That's my freaking father." And he goes, "Rawr." Be like, that's freaky.
Yeah. Or even the face on the planet.
Yep.
Whoa, they went there.
And that's cool. I'm
awesome.
glad that when Yondu and Rocket get there, that you see the planet and then you see the face on it, because that is exactly what Ego looks like in the comics. All Ego is in the comics, without a physical Kurt Russell form, is just a big planet with a mustache and big eyes, are just in the planet.
Big Kurt Russell planet.
Basically. And without fabulous hair. And that's, you get a sliver of that. And I appreciate that little nod to the comics so well. Anyways, so yeah, this superb ending to a film. I was blown away. I was just blown away by how well it did, how almost simple of a structure, but yet emotionally so deep it was. Amazing. So what would you give a score for Act 3?
I give it a 9.
I gave it a 10. Yeah.
I still think it could have been shaved time. There's a little pacing towards the end. That's trying to be picky, just to, I don't want to be biased all the time. This, by the way, is one of my top just personal favorites of the MCU.
Yep.
So it's tough to not just give it a hard, good score. So
yeah, I tell you. All right. So anything else before we move on?
No, I'm ready to move right on into our fun stuff here.
All right, so post-credit scene. There's this film had like 5 mid to post-credit scenes, but they're also comedical. So I only just picked the 2 that I feel like would have been the most either talked about or important of them.
I agree.
Yeah, and we just got through in our takedown trivia of the hot takes and what we think about them for post-credit scenes. So you gotta watch that if you haven't listened to that. Rewind back or check out that video on YouTube, guys. So the mid-credit scene is Aisha, the leader of the Sovereign, reveals a new creation meant to destroy the Guardians, a golden being named Adam, hinting at Adam Warlock. And then the post-credit scene is a series of humorous scenes show multiple versions of Baby Groot growing into a teenager while ignoring Peter Quill's instructions, highlighting their evolving father-son dynamic, which is kind of cool, to be honest. The purpose of this is, 1, to set up a new character in the Guardians universe, and then 2, just to show Baby Groot's becoming teenage Groot, really. How important is it to the MCU? I put not very. The Groot thing is not important at all. The Adam Warlock thing, for people who knew of Adam Warlock, that's a big deal, but then it was a long time since we got him since that, and it was okay. It was justifiable for real world circumstances, but so it did have a payoff, so I would say that was okay. That was good. That's what a post-credit scene's supposed to be. So hype level, what would you give it?
I give it about a 6.
Okay.
Also, only because I like this group and I like what's going on and I'm curious about their future. So when I saw the Adam Warlock thing, who I had no prior information to about this character, I was very interested in who is that? What's that mean?
Oh, so your score is a 6 out of 10. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I agree. My hype level was like a 50% just because of all the stuff going on, and the only 50% of that is Adam Warlock because I knew of him.
But because I liked the movie so much, it made me wanna look into what that meant. Because
That's good.
as someone that didn't know who Adam Warlock was, it made me wanna go know who he was,
Mhm.
when other movies haven't done that.
Yep.
Like, I don't know it, so I'm kinda like, "Me, I don't know what that means." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
So if your score was a 6, mine was a 5 out of 10
okay.
for score. All right, guys, character deep dives. This is where we get into the meats, the juice, the bones of the whole thing. Um, so who is your best
I
performance?
gave it to Chris Pratt again.
Mm,
There's a lot of great performances in this movie. A lot of them need to be recognized, but he once again was a he is a s- the he is more the core focus of what of this group, and he this ongoing trend of from his mom dying to what it means, why she died, to who his father was, and becoming this group. I think he is the glue for it all, and I think Chris had to show that array of emotions once again. He had to show a lot of immaturity to someone who's getting mature, dealing with their father issues all at the same time. And at the end, when he knew he had to kill him, you see how you saw a leader was born too, more than you did in the other. Like he was like, "We're doing this. We're going at this. This is what's happening."
mhm,
There's something happened that he was doing just right in his acting that was very subtle, yet still keeping that funny, charming thing that he has as Star-Lord,
mhm,
especially with the tape thing and all that stuff. But he understood that that might be my father, but I have to kill him,
mm,
and I like it. Like I think he held this movie up again,
mm.
truthfully.
I agree with everything that you said. Everything you said about that. It was hard for me personally to pick the best performance
Yeah.
because Chris Pratt, Rocket, and Kurt Russell are the three that stuck out to me the
Yeah.
most. I guess if I had to pick of those three, Chris Pratt does take the lead on that, but Rocket is a close second, and then Kurt will be number three because
Yeah.
the learning a little bit more about Rocket's growth, not his origin. We get that in number 3, but I'm talking about his character growth of trying to adapt in this family and having this sense of belonging that at the end he comes to realize even if I do mess up and I am the cranky trash panda that they call me type thing, like I still have a family and Peter reassures him, "Of course you do."
Mhm.
That to me, that moment right there spoke so many levels
Mhm.
of what a real family would go through, especially family like this that they pick their own people. If they made this family and they're staying together as a family no matter what, it's a bond that I think really touches upon real life stuff.
They're tighter than the Avengers.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, they are, yeah, and so because of that, Rocket is a close second, but I agree with this is Chris Pratt's emotional story
Mhm.
of figuring out his heritage
Mhm.
and also being better than his heritage. I love that.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
yes, I agree with you, Chris Pratt. I'll just say one of my most surprising performances, Gamora and Yondu, I have tied.
Good choices. This is another
Yeah.
one. How do you pick?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for me, especially coming off of the first film where I put them both as my weaker performances, I I don't even know if I put Yondu even in that category. I have to remember my retrospective for Guardians 1, but I know I put Gamora there. That is a complete 180 from
Mhm.
whatever I thought of the first film. Gamora is she is a force to be reckoned with in this movie. She has a character growth a number of times when she would stop and hesitate on something because she's actually growing as a character, not just being this warrior machine that she was made to be.
That's right.
And that scene between her and her sister is one of the best scenes I think Marvel's ever done. It's
Mhm.
just so well done. And then Yondu. I did not think I would ever care for him, but I did in this movie. He's just this guy that kind of became a surrogate father, and he stumbled and messed up a lot,
It wasn't good at it.
but at the same time, it speaks to one of these core things where even if you don't have the best parent, but you know they have the best intentions for you, that does shine through somewhere. And Yandu's a perfect example of that, where he might not have made good choices like 80 to 90% of the time, but the core reason he kept Peter was to protect him from that thing that was his father
Mhm.
and what he knew was happening at that point. And that's the true character depth of who Yandu is. And I think that is greatly exemplified here in real world of what what some parents just not all people are cut out to be parents, but that doesn't mean they're bad people.
Right.
And I think that that's a good example of that. So I put them both as my surprise performances.
My surprise performance is I could not believe how much they got me to care about a freaking CGI raccoon. So I'm gonna give it to Rocket. Like I have to this time. I
Right?
just can't believe. I'm like I really give a crap about this thing, and it just works. And his expressions in this and some of the stuff he says, they spent a little more time on,
Mhm.
so he felt even more real,
Mm.
and it just works so well for me for that.
I agree.
You know.
Oh, good choice. All right, who was your weakest performance?
So I'm gonna give it to Mantis only because there was not a lot for her to do other than be that crux that gets them to realize what he goes up to, and also some humor. She doesn't
Mm.
really have a big character turn in this other than turning on Ego, which seemed very easy for her to do. So and I'm only gonna give it to her for writing purposes. It's got nothing to do with it actually being a bad performance.
Mhm.
She's fine. I like her. She's funny.
Mhm.
I think she's perfect for it. I like her in other movies that they do. But for this one, there's one character that kind of just pulled the reins back on because there's a lot going on. She was introduced, and that's pretty much what her role was to be part of this story. And that's it.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm giving it to her.
I understand. I completely get it. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with everything that you said there. For weakest performances, I didn't put her down. I put Vin Diesel and Sean Gunn's brother.
I see. I love Sean Gunn, and I got you.
I think
You mean Sean Gunn,
oh,
James
it
Gunn's
is
brother?
James Gunn,
Yeah,
Sean
yeah,
Gunn's brother. Sorry. But yeah, yeah, Sean Gunn and well, the thing about Vin Diesel,
but it is Vin Diesel.
it's
Do
Vin
we even know
Diesel,
it's
but
Vin Diesel?
because of how high pitched the voice is, because he's Baby Groot, you don't know it unless they
Yeah.
threw it in your face in the end credit scenes.
I gotta be honest with you, I forget it's him.
Yeah, so I mean, and I like Vin Diesel. I know you're not as much of a fan. I'm not like a super fan or anything, but I feel like if you're gonna cast Vin Diesel, you should have given him a Vin Diesel role,
Yeah.
not Baby Groot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
whatever. I
I'm with you,
mean,
though. I get why you say
it's
that
not
then.
because that's really all he says is, "I am Groot. I am Groot."
And it's not even him saying it, really.
Rah! That's
He
all
says
his
it, and they
voice is.
just do the auto stuff to it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, but and then there are times I've felt Sean Gunn is just a little annoying here or there. I wasn't too
Oh,
much into it.
See, I personally like him in this a lot.
I liked him better in the first movie
Yeah.
than the second. Maybe it's just he's just not my cup of tea.
Mm.
But no offense to him at all. It's just that I'm like, where do you really fit into this? You know?
Yeah.
I get at least in this one, I feel like he has a little bit more of a purpose than when we get to Guardians 3, from what I remember of him. But yeah. That's just what I had to say about
I
that
understand.
there.
Yep.
But what I do appreciate is Sean Gunn, even though he plays his own character in the films, he also is the physical embodiment of Rocket when they're
Yeah.
doing stuff. And I thought, that's cool. That's the type of stuff that's really cool for an actor to be able to
Mhm.
pull that off. So good for you for that. All right, casting wins or misses.
I don't got any. I mean, the wins are all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any misses, and I'll go in the missed opportunities wise. I don't see any missed opportunities or wasted potentials either. Maybe giving Mantis a little more or something, maybe, but even then,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. It was fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's negative's tough with this one, guys.
Mm-hmm. So I'm actually completely agree with you. I put my casting wins as Kurt Russell and Palm. I can't pronounce her last name.
Yeah,
Mantis. I thought they were casted really well. I loved the addition of Kurt Russell. He's a good actor, and he does give a good performance in this film. He's another legacy actor that comes in for a one and done type thing, but it's so worth it.
gives a lot of gravitas to this.
Yes, I think, and that is a common thread that I think Marvel does really well. Is,
Mhm.
and we've talked about this almost in every movie, especially the really good ones, is they bring in a legacy actor just for a one-time role thing, and they nail it out of the park.
Yeah.
And that's all they ask for is that.
Mhm.
I'm waiting for a Meryl Streep to come into a movie like this or something, someone that has another high prestige, a Morgan Freeman, someone that would be really cool to see on screen for one movie, and then it's a one and done thing, but
Yeah.
they're gonna act the crap out of that character,
Yeah,
know?
I agree.
So,
I agree.
anyways, um, And then I'm gonna lead that right into my missed opportunities. I actually have no missed opportunities or wasted potential, but that's where I wanted to touch upon the change that I think is similar to what the Russo brothers did with Zemo. What James Gunn did with Ego in this movie, reinventing him, making him Peter's father, and giving him a body, so perfectly
It's
done.
genius.
It kind of rewrites him, but also doesn't really. It complements the comic book version of him, but also elevating him to a
Yep.
celestial level thing.
Yep.
You know, we talk a lot on this podcast, and people in the fandom in general, when they're comparing the comic book version to the movie version, how comic accurate was it? And I've always said this, and I always will say this. I should have this on a T-shirt. What's done in the comics can't always translate well to a movie.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
and I'm sorry, but Eagle the Living Planet into a movie would have looked ridiculous. And just like how Helmet Zemo would have looked a little ridiculous for that movie. But the way that they changed him while keeping the core elements of him and even nods to his comic book self with the planet, how it looked and how all of that stuff. Chef's kiss. Perfect.
It
Amazing.
elevates the whole movie too.
Yes.
And it makes that character relevant, and
Yep.
out of that takes that obscure. Once again, James Gunn's great at this.
Mm-hmm.
Very obscure, weird character to just be like,
Mhm.
give it some real meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually gave him a real good purpose in the MCU for at least one character.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Yeah,
I
so
agree with
well
you.
done. Yes. All right. All right. So speaking of which, direction and production.
Yeah,
Why don't you dive right into this? I think you have more to say than I do
yeah.
about
I'll dip right down through these real fast for you. And it's the director style. I think he said, "Hold my beer." After he
it.
saw what the Russos did, and I don't think he quite hit the echelons as the Russos when it comes down to like Civil War or Winter Soldier, but it's definitely right in that same ballpark. And I think it showed though that you don't just need the Russos to make MCU movies this kind of quality.
Mhm.
And I would argue that I think James Gunn may become the second best director of the MCU, to be honest with you. I mean, there's good ones, there's a lot of good ones, but he just is just each time. I mean, wait till we get to the third one, guys. Boy. You know what I mean? I don't know if I love it as much as this one, but I gotta watch it again. I've only seen it a couple times, to be honest with you. So the third one I have not watched as much as I've watched the first two. So
Mm.
I might surprise myself because even watching this one again for like the 18th time I've probably seen it because it's one of my personal favorites. I love it every time. And that third one, I know it packs the emotion still for sure. I remember that.
Mhm.
The cinematography is great. It's pretty normal. Then like compared to the first, it's about the same. The action is awesome. I love the slow motion still shots that he does. There's a scene when Drax is jumping into the beast in the beginning, and when Star-Lord when he flies away from that membrane thing and it
Mhm.
shows him shooting, it's almost like you could take a picture of it and have a poster, of it. I like that they choose to do that, which goes to speak for the CGI in this is a lot better.
Mhm.
The quality of the CGI is really good. It feels very real. I like the very weird retro 70s, 80s vibe that Ego's planet has going for it, It's
Mhm.
kind of cool, kind of speaks to like the not only like Ego being as a personality, but almost like Kurt Russell's personality in its own way. And the music is great. Once again, he chooses music to fit the scenes, to fit the mood, to fit the theme of the movie. And then, of course, the regular themes of the music is once again, it's not fantastic, but it's not beginning MCU stuff. So they still know we got good theme songs. We're gonna keep them,
Mhm.
and I like the Guardians theme songs. I think they're good. But once again, the soundtrack to this is phenomenal. Like,
Mhm.
all that music picked for it is perfect. So that's
Yeah.
how I feel about all the technical stuff of the
Mm.
direction and productions.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. For the music part in particular, um, is there any and maybe if I'm jumping ahead and tell me if I am, but is there any specific scene in the movie that had the playlist play that you felt like, "Oh, wow, he did this," you know?
Yeah, definitely. The two that made me kind of like very happy they did it was definitely when they played um Fleetwood Mac's The Chain earlier, and when Rocket and him are fighting,
Mm.
and Rocket says to him, or he says to Rocket, if you're getting everybody to want to hate you, then you're doing a good job, and then the chain plays, and then once again, this speaks to that whole Fleetwood Mac as a band were doing this to each other. They were sleeping around with each other, dating each other, cheating on each other, and they made music in order to like get back at each other, and they had to sing their own music to each other, and that was one of the songs. And like speaks to like whatever's going on in that little group that's so much turmoil. It speaks to them in that movie, but then at the same time, it's meta because it's in real life. That's what that band was like. So it kind of works that way.
Mm.
And Brandy, I think, is a great song because it's a hypocritical song. What's unique about that song is it's about this sailor who meets this woman at some dock, some random sea dock, and falls in love with her and uses her and then leaves. And then he claims, "Oh yeah, no, my life is out there in the sea," blah blah blah. And the whole idea is it sounds like a love song, but it really is a song about someone that is using someone to pass their time by because that's where they are and they're stuck in their ways and they're going to go do what they're going to do anyways and it wouldn't have mattered, and that the person that pays for it are these lovely women, or it's specifically Brandy, who has to have this memory of this guy who come in and changed her life and then took off. And it's exactly what Ego did to his mom. So not only is it the love part of it is what he did to her, but the deeper meaning of the song being that it's kind of a shame they do this to them, is it's a shame that he did this to her, which is what him killing her and all that kind of speaks to. That in the end, the father-son song at the end they play when Yondu's funeral is happening is almost kind of like, I might be too on the nose this time for me to say it's genius, but it's a great pick.
Mhm.
It's a great pick for that. Yeah, so those ones stick out to me the most.
Nice. No, I agree. I didn't know the depth of some of these songs. Like I know you would have, like you explained in the first Guardians retrospective, but the brand new one I totally got
Yeah.
because that was that. I loved how he explained it, and it made me curious about listening to the full song. Then you listen to the full song just on YouTube, pull it up, and be like, "Oh wow!" And then you see the similarities and everything. You're like, it's
It's funny that he even tries to manipulate Peter with it, saying,
mm-hmm,
"See, I love her, but this is my world."
mm-hmm,
It's like, yeah, but that's by your choice,
mm-hmm,
and that's kind of not what he says till the end, and then that's when Peter's like, "You killed my mom," you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it
mm-hmm.
all turns into the real thing. So
Yep. Yeah, I agree. All right, now guys, we're getting into hot takes.
I don't have a one. This is the first time I'm going to tell you. Um, I guess my hot take would be this might solidify James Gunn as the second best director the MCU has had. I think
Mhm.
people might consider that a hot take, so I will throw that in there as a hot take. Because I can't think of something I would do different or all that kind of stuff that would make a real hot take out of this, other than maybe saying that James Gunn proves that he knows what the hell he's talking about, which is why I still feel like no matter what happens in DC, until it really falls apart, it's in good hands at least. And if it doesn't work, then there's bigger things that happen and not him failing it.
Mhm.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I totally understand. You said my hot take earlier in the podcast. I put Star-Lord as one of the most tragic characters in all of Marvel.
Nice.
And you said it much better than I could because I just put one of the most tragic. But yeah, I agree. He's like the second most tragic next to Thor.
Close to it, right? Like,
Like,
I mean, there's a
mhm.
bunch that have a lot of tragedy, but close
Yep.
to it.
Even Mantis to a degree has a little bit of she's a little bit of a tragic figure. She goes from like she's this empath that's forced to soothe a narcissistic god, and then so her life is dysfunctional,
Hmm.
and then all of a sudden she goes to another dysfunctional family that's trying to figure out where their stepping is. So I'm like, I kind of am curious on a little bit more of her origin. We get a little bit more of a taste in the third movie, which is nice, but
Hmm.
it's she has a good role in the third movie. But anyways, we'll get there, guys.
We'll see more of her in the future.
Yeah, but oh yeah, she's one of those characters that definitely can easily come back and
Easy.
is
It
welcomed back.
wants to be back. We want
Yeah.
people want her back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree. I think she's a good addition. But yeah, Star Lord he definitely is one of the most tragic MCU heroes. And I think this gives me a little bit more of a better perspective of who his character is, especially when you get to that controversial, according to the internet, scene of Infinity War when he slaps Thanos. Because everyone has, even Chris Pratt has said that people have come up to him at like conventions and whatever and say, "Why'd you slap him? You almost had him." Be like, you, you watch this movie. You get the point. Look what he's been through. Yeah, he's gonna slap the shit out of
And
somebody.
it's in his character to lose his cool.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
we see him do it often. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. So, quick fire questions Um, let's see. Oh, I missed a page. Answer fast. Don't overthink. Best scene of the movie for you.
This is gonna surprise you. Best scene in the movie to me is Peter's and Drax's conversation about Drax telling Peter that he needs to find a dancer.
Ah.
And because as funny as that is and weird as that scene is, it's like it's very metaphoric to like what they're talking about, because Gamora's not a dancer, but Peter is a dancer.
Mm,
And like physically really is and metaphorically.
hmm.
And Drax isn't a dancer, and that's why he liked his wife, and, of course, that's where the comedy comes in,
Yeah,
but, like,
but
if you really then later on when Peter and her are talking and they're slow dancing, Peter says, "Oh, look at you out here, Drax was wrong, you are a dancer." It's like there's something there that he brings something out of her that she does not know how to reconcile with
mhm,
because her whole life's been, surviving her life from Thanos. You know what I'm saying? Like it's watching her entire family be murdered by this big purple dude who took her on, and this is what he did. So she's not a dancer,
mm,
which ultimately, in the end, as much as their relationship is something we all love, they can't be together. And I think that it's genius that they're
mm,
not at this point in time in the MCU. It's almost
mm,
like
mhm,
they shipped them off to get it done because that's the obvious thing, and then this is why it can't be,
mhm,
and later on to support that with things that happen later. It's like they're
mm,
almost too perfect as a couple. It's not going to work though. Their worlds are too different. Though their methods are too different.
mhm,
You know, even her saying, if he gets me, you need to kill me." And
mhm,
Peter goes through with it because he will for her. But like but he's a dancer and she's not. And if he wasn't a dancer, he would have
mm,
found a different way, right? And I think
mhm.
that that's kind of
That's
where,
so good.
yeah, I think it's deep. I do think it's that deep. Maybe I'm reading too much into it and y'all can
Mm,
laugh at me. I don't think so. When I watch him, that's what it makes me feel. I
mm,
see that. So that's the best scene to me. Just because I took the depth of that, I'm like, "Oh, this is a funny moment that's not supposed to be." And James Gunn does this well. He does this multiple times in Peacemaker, the show, where it's like, this is a really ridiculous thing, but when you really are listening, you go, oh, I see what you done did there.
mm,
And he
mhm,
did it. See, he does it in Suicide Squad as well a few times.
mm,
Well, I see what you did there. You turned something real goofy and weird into something that means a lot. Like, and that meant a lot right there of
mm.
their character, especially going forward.
That's very good.
Yeah. That's why he made the choice. That's why they made the choices to do what they did with these characters, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I I wish I had thought that. That was really good. That's a very good, best scene in the movie. I just put Nebula and Gamora's fight with each other.
Yeah, that's
Not
up
only
there.
is the action, like, top notch, but the emotional depth of them,
Yeah.
of reconciling and becoming sisters again. That's big. That's a big moment for them. It's a big moment why I like both those characters, both of them, and they do it so well, and it was
Yeah,
written so well.
that's up there.
Yeah, so, anyways, least best scene.
The Groot scene, I'm just gonna stick with that because that's one of the few things I can say is a problem for me,
Mhm.
is that just was a little too long of a joke.
Mine's in the same realm. I put the Ravengers laughing at Group and kicking him around and pouring stuff on him.
Yeah, maybe unnecessary.
I thought that especially for how they're pitching Baby Groot as this really good kid-friendly thing for it, and then taking it to it's one thing when they poured stuff on him and he was mad, but when they start kicking him, I thought, "Okay, I think you pushed that envelope a little too
Yeah,
far for that." I'm glad it didn't lasted that scene didn't get extended or whatever, because that would
yeah.
have been hard to watch at that point. Um, anyways, best villain moment for you? I put the most obvious one when Ego revealed that he killed Peter's mom.
I had that one, I thought I'd do that one too. This is where I really elaborated on the idea that he's not really that evil. So I'm gonna give his best moment is at the end when he begs Peter. 'Cause it's like he realizes he's doesn't have the power, that Peters can stop him, and here he is, and he's begging him. It really just shows
Mhm,
that what these villains you don't see a lot of the villains do that in that
mhm,
last moment. They usually only go right to the end, right?
mhm,
This really I like this moment. It was a weaker villain moment than usual, and I think
mhm,
it's something that was very refreshing in this movie.
mm. Okay, I see that. Yep. Alright, most punchable face.
So, there's a lot of people in this that need a punch to the face. So I picked the one that for me never got their due, okay? Because Because everybody pretty much kind of gets their due that needs a punch in the face, except in the beginning when the Sovereign are chasing them and there's that one ship left. And the guy's like trying to get him, and they're like, "Yeah, keep going, keep going." And then he dies. The one guy who says, "You suck," and he walks away. That guy needs a punch in the face. He was the last one. He followed them through the asteroid thing. Like the guy was kicking butt, and then Drax comes popping out, and they're like, "Oh no!" And then he gets hurt like that. What an idiot! And no one punches
He did
that.
better than you.
Yeah, he did way better than that guy. Yeah. And he's like, I don't know if the guy's name was like Tom, right? He's like, "You suck, Tom," and he walks away, and I'm like, dude. What are you talking about? I suck. I'm the last one. Like, I don't know. I think that guy needed a good old sock to the noggin.
You should have come back with, what, did you lose the coins for your machine?
Yeah, something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
I
one.
tried to have fun with it because there's a lot of easy ones to pick, but that one to me that one never did get a sock to the face or any kind of come up in. So
you know what, that character that was that last guy, the last golden boy there, he looked a lot like the bad guy, the bodyguard from Titanic.
he does.
When I was watching it, I kept thinking, maybe this is that same actor.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
I know it's not because I'm like,
are you that guy?
Time ago, but same characteristics. Anyways, so I have two. Taserface, which I feel like is an obvious one, but yeah.
If he didn't make me laugh so much, I would agree, but I don't want to punch him because it really did work every time.
Yeah.
I really thought he was funny. Like, I thought the whole situation was funny, but I gotcha.
Yeah, and Sean Gunn.
See, the only other second one I would have chose would have been that other one, the other Ravager that you saw a lot that was being an idiot.
Oh, the long-haired one on the one side, like, hey.
Yeah, that guy
one.
could. That
yeah,
guy
he
really,
needed a punch,
but he got
in
an
the
arrow
face.
through the chest. So
Okay, it was done.
Yeah.
But I agree.
Yeah.
He was nasty.
He just every time. Yeah.
And you know what? I really shouldn't be so hard on Sean Gunn's character there.
I feel like you are being. I got to be honest. I'm with you. It's all taste, but I got to be honest with you. I think I like his little moments. Like,
the one moment that I have to take a lot of that stuff back what I said about him because of this one moment that just clicked in my brain. When he goes to Yondu and he says, "I didn't mean to cause a mutiny. They killed all my friends." I need to have more of a heart and be like, yeah, I mean, you did start it, but yeah. You know.
He didn't understand what he did wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and he didn't mean for it to go that far.
No. That is a little horrifying when they were throwing them all out there just for
awful.
fun.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's awful stuff, man. It's some violent things for like a silliness.
But it just goes to show that they're space pirates.
Yeah,
they walk the plank literally.
Yeah.
So
literally. And I like when Gamora is telling him what she's gonna go do, and he goes, "Oh, well, I'm just thought maybe buy a nice purse or something." Yeah. That is funny. I just like that he just was like, "Okay, geez,
something pretty.
Yeah,
have fun there."
So you show the girls something pretty.
Yeah.
Girls. It's like it's because to me it's like she just definitely was the wrong time, the wrong person to go on that spiel with. You know, what I mean?
Yes.
She was like, "What the hell? I just start here."
So I take that back as most punchable face. So just for that, okay.
Yeah. So Taserface gets a good one.
Yeah, but I'll still hold you to it when we get to number 3. We'll find out how I feel about you.
Yeah, all right. We'll see.
One prop you take home.
I struggled with this one.
There's 2 I had, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, I really don't want that one. So I did come up with one, but it's not as unique.
What's that?
Yondu's fin thing. I liked it. I could see that on like you know, if we had a prop for each movie mantle type thing, I could see that there. But I struggled with it finding something. Maybe the batteries. That would be more for this movie in particular.
That was my first choice, is the batteries.
Yeah.
That, or maybe like a cool band of one of the bands that they put across Yondu's face. That'd be kind of neat too. The Ravager bands.
Yeah.
Ooh, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think that would be perfect. The Ravager patch that he gives.
Oh,
that he gives
Baby Groot.
To go look for the stuff. That would be cool to have a patch.
Yeah.
The Ravager sign. Let's go with that.
I can see that. Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay, so most underrated moment.
Well,
this section I'll say was the hardest for me.
I got 2. One is going to be shared with another one, and the only reason I'm going to, at least as an honorable mention for this part, because I think it fits in the other better, but is the talk with Drax and Star-Lord about dancers and non-dancers. But the second one, I really think it's underrated, the moment when Yondu's getting rejected by Sylvester Stallone's character right there in front of everybody. I think when you watch this movie, it's easy to just see this as a moment that goes by, but to see the deal that this really means, I know it plays out later in the end and people see it, but I think it's very underrated. I don't think it's talked about a lot, especially on Stallone's part.
Mm-hmm.
Because they say Stallone didn't really do much. It's like, yeah, but he did enough, and it was just right. Like, it's all we needed, and it's all we wanted to see. So I think that's the most underrated.
Yeah. No, I agree. I put for my underrated moments, not one specific moment, but just all the little parts of this whole film that showed their character arcs changing. Like, I feel like when I watch this movie, like, in my head, I'm seeing this line go across of, oh, character arc, and all of a sudden they all perfectly sync up and line up at the end. And so it's all those little moments that I think people, and it goes to the biggest misconceptions of this whole movie, that it's mid. That if you guys sit down and watch this movie, it's not mid. Every character has this arc in this movie that is so well balanced and well done that you're missing the whole point if you get to the end of this and say, it's not as good as the first. Be like, holy smokes, what world are you living in? Were you not watching the movie? Like, I get it, but actually, no, I don't get it. I don't get it. So yeah, that's the underrated moment, is the whole movie. Basically. Overrated moment, what would you say?
I'm gonna give it to Groot getting the wrong stuff again. Sorry,
Yeah.
this is the one scene in this movie I could go without.
I agree. It's overrated. I get the
It
comedic
tends
tone.
to be the funniest one to everybody. Like,
Yeah, but like you said earlier, it would have been better if it was cut in half, time-wise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Save those extra couple minutes for another emotional beat somewhere.
Agreed.
All right. Funniest moment.
So there's a lot of funny moments in this movie, but the one that I found, I'm sitting there watching, I even had my daughter from the other room, Morgan from the other room, yelled out, what are you laughing at? And I laughed out loud. I love it when they're sitting around and and they're talking about, and Drax realizes that Yondu is not Star-Lord's biological father. And they're just like, what? And like, and Drax just like, yeah, I thought he was always your dad.
Yeah, he looks just like you.
But yeah, it looks just like you. And then it showed Rocket's face, and he literally was like, his eyes were like wide, and like the expressions in his face, and he goes, one of them's blue. Like, stop laughing. I'm laughing right now. It's so funny. Like, one of them's all blue. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's because their reactions to him is just the best. Like, I love that when they do that. And that one, to me, that made me laugh so hard. I'm going to give it to that moment because I really laughed out loud. I really did. There's lots of other ones, but that one really sticks out to me.
I always, and I know I already said it during this review, but it's the two that always pop into my head whenever I think of this movie, is the family reunion thing. Family reunion.
Yep.
It's just perfect timing, and it wasn't corny or anything. And then when Drax just makes that offhanded comment of, did you make a penis? Well, he would smush your mother.
Yeah.
And then he goes into this, why do you Earth people think this is sick? My father always, every winter solstice, talks about how he impregnated my mother.
Yeah.
Be like, and it's glorious. To be like, what the heck? Where'd it come from?
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that most emotional moment for you.
I think when Yondu calls out Rocket and they have this moment of catharsis, both of them, where he calls him out, but he also breaks open himself in the anger and giving this to, like, he's trying to tell this raccoon what's up. He ultimately ends up telling himself what's up at the same time. And that's when Rocket's like, are we just a pair? Because it's like, they just literally, like, you cracked us both open in the moment that needed to be. I thought that was probably, to me, there's a lot of good emotional moments in it, but I like that one. To me, it was like that was a hitter.
I get it. Yep. Mine is a little similar. Mine is when Rocket is verbally coming to the realization that he'll always have a family, no matter what bad stuff he does. And what's better in that moment is not just Rocket saying it; it's Peter reaffirming it by looking at him and saying, "Of course," or "You're right."
That's my second. Yeah,
That is
that's my second moment.
because
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, and maybe I speak to you out there that's feeling the same way. Maybe you have your own personal roller coaster emotions and moments that go up and down. You wonder if you belong, or if you're overthinking because you did something wrong, and it might not be that big of a deal, but to you in your head it is. Just having someone right there to just look at you and sympathize with you, or just to simply say, "You're okay."
Yeah.
That's a big deal, and I think that was needed to be shown in this movie, especially for Rocket, after all they've been through in this movie and their arc together, that they still wanna be friends with each other, that's really cool, so that's my most emotional moment.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's great.
Alright, final scores, y'all.
All right, let's do it.
Ike, out of 2, what is the story for you?
2.
Yep, same here. Characters out of 2.
I'm gonna give it a 2.
Yep. Action and visuals, I'm the same, by the way.
2.
Same here. Emotion and stakes.
2.
Yep, same here. Rewatchability and MCU impact.
So I'm gonna give it a 1.5.
Okay.
The rewatchability is off the charts.
Mhm.
I will say, out of all the MCU movies, this one really doesn't do anything to move the needle of how important it is to the wider story.
I
But
agree.
that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing.
Exactly.
So-
Yeah. Yeah. For those exact reasons, I gave it a 1 out of 2. The 1 for the rewatchability, the 0 for the other one, because there's not as much of an impact of this film
Yeah,
that
nothing in
need.
this actually that we need to
Yep.
remember at all later.
Yep. Maybe you can argue that this moment shared between Gamora and Nebula of Nebula coming to the
Yeah.
good side, you can argue, but I also feel like that would have been inevitable
Yep.
given how Thanos treats them. So,
Mhm.
anyways, yeah. All right, final scores. I can start off and say to you guys right off the bat, I'm giving this a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, me too.
That's a high score. I was almost gonna give it a 9.5, but then I thought Winter Soldier's a 9.5, and I kept going back and forth. Is this Winter Soldier level that I have to be consistent with? And because of the 1 or 2 little flaws compared to Winter Soldier that virtually had no flaws, except for Hawkeye for you, but I digress. This movie is pretty darn good.
Yeah, I'm struggling with my score. I want to give it a 9, but I know I gave Winter Soldier 9.5.
I feel like with those 2 little fixes here or there, like the Baby Groot one, for instance, that would have made it a 9.5 easily for me.
Yeah, if this had shaved a little bit off of a couple jokes that went too long, and if it would have had maybe one moment in one of the emotional moments that took it the distance to really grab your gut, I think it'd be almost a 10.
Mhm.
But because it just falls a tad short on the feels, I don't think there's anything in it that is said and done that's as meaningful as, Captain looking at Bucky saying, "I'm with you to the end."
Mm.
Oh God, it's heartbreaking. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and because this isn't a 10, but I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna call it a 9 too. Yeah.
All right, guys. So the official Goodell Multiverse score for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is 9 out of 10.
How awesome is that?
Yes. Yep.
Man.
It is. Is there any one sentence final review you would give this film?
Yeah, this is James Gunn put himself on the map, y'all. Like, if you didn't know this guy was coming as a great director, now you know he's coming.
I couldn't have said it better myself. This really shows the true, how do I say this properly? Because I want to do these words justice and make them sound meaningful. This is a director who sees the bigger picture and says, I can do better and go the distance.
Yep.
And not that he did bad in the first one at all, but you know what I mean, that he wants to always improve his game. And also, like I said, looking at the bigger picture, he was able to do that.
He stepped up to the plate.
He stepped up to it and he delivered. And anyone who calls this movie mid doesn't understand the MCU.
Yeah.
They don't understand
most people that
emotional
call
depths.
this movie mid don't think Endgame's that good, and they also don't like Homecoming. And
Can't help you guys. Sorry.
you're not coming to the picnic. Sorry, guys.
Yep. I don't know a therapist that can help you. All right. So, gosh,
Boy,
what's
what a
left to
great
do?
movie. So, yeah, I
It's
mean,
all
let's
good.
talk about what's next. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, guys, we got our next episode coming up. We're going to be doing our back to a Branch Point breakdown, which is great. Branch Point review, which we're going to do Werewolf by Night. It's exciting. That was a lot of fun. I'm going to have fun doing that one. I've only seen it the one time, so rewatching it this week will actually kind of be fun. I'm actually looking forward to doing that. And then our retrospective is going to be Spider-Man Homecoming, which is I'm excited for because I can already tell you there's one real awesome scene in it that we're going to talk about a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
And Sammy knows exactly what it is. Look, it's easy. So it's going to be a fun movie to talk about, I think. And then other than that, we'll have some multiverse minutes for you, and we'll have some rumor mill rundown to give you some up on the rumors of what's going on out there. And we're definitely going to talk about the rumor that we talked about earlier, the one with Doomsday and how Magneto might be fighting Spider-Man's villains.
That's an interesting rumor. I want to dive into that a little bit more too and see. So we give you a full in-depth view of what this rumor is.
Read the source of that, see what it is and what they're saying, and unfortunately, like we both kind of alluded to, well, they ain't got a chance. But
yeah, right.
It'd still be kind of fun to see him do it, you know. So
yeah, we'll totally get to that. Yeah, I want to plug into you guys here real quick that our first X-Men film retrospective special is out on YouTube right now, and it soon will be, if it's not already at this point, available as the audio version of the podcast. We actually this weekend are going to be filming X2, X-Men United, the retrospective, which should be out by the end of July. We're getting ahead of the game a little bit because July could be a little bit busy, especially as we're getting into these retrospectives of the end of Phase 3, which
the big ones,
they require a lot more of our attention than, unfortunately, Phase 4, 5, and 6. But we digress on that. We are excited. I know I am. I've already watched X2 twice now in preparation, once last week and once a couple days ago. I was really trying to focus, though, on Guardians to get ready. So you bet within the next 24 hours, I'm going to be watching that again to make sure I have fine-tuned my notes.
Yeah, I watched X2 yesterday. I'm going to watch it more so now that we're done with Guardians. I really wanted to focus on this one, but yeah,
me too.
X2 it's a that opening scene.
So guys, be sure to subscribe to our social media accounts. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram. Stream us wherever you stream. We're on Spotify, Buzzsprout, Amazon Music, you name it, we're there. So thank you guys for tuning into the Goodell Multiverse podcast. I hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you next time. See you at the movies.